Greetings once again from Gordon Causey, coming to you from my little corner of southeastern Ontario, Canada. Previous video, I actually made the mistake of saying northeastern. I think I had north on my mind. Obviously, Canada's a northern country, but in terms of the province of Ontario, I am in the southeastern corner, a little place called Northumberland County, roughly halfway between Oshawa on the eastern edge of the GTA and Kingston. I'm about an hour down the road heading east from Kingston, or if I go the other direction and I head west, takes me about an hour to get to Oshawa. I'm coming to you right now, this video that I'll be publishing. I'm recording it in the waning hours toward the end of what is now Sunday, May 11th, 2025. My clock says 11:13 p.m. I find it easier to do my videos late in the evening when the house is quiet. Uh, my dog rumbles around. I have a young son who likes to, oh, life gets busy. And I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about what I perceive, what I think is a real threat to free speech in Canada. And that's based on Mark Carney's campaign rhetoric and also what we saw from previous Liberal administrations when Justin Trudeau was Prime Minister of this country. I see Mark Carney echoing his sentiments. I see Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau basically saying the same things. Justin said them before, and Mark is repeating them now. And I think that should be a concern for any individual who cherishes things like free speech, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, rights that are supposed to be enshrined in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. What I'm going to be doing, as I like to do, is to read from a post that I put up on my Facebook timeline. I will link it down below. And of course, I will invite you to comment, fill the comment field. The last couple videos I've had have generated more commentary than I normally get, which is nice. I get the little endorphins, I think it's dopamine specifically, a little drug in the brain that gets released when you're engaged with through social media, through YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or any of them. People, you get this little drug in your brain. Oh, I'm important. Uh, I put that out there just because I think it's important to be aware of it, because then what can happen, and I want to avoid this trap, is you can kind of chase engagement. What do people want me to talk about so that I get that dopamine rush? I want to talk about the things that are important to me, and free speech is certainly one of them. As a content creator, I guess that's what I am on YouTube. Free speech is essential. Am I going to be restricted from saying the things that I want to say? Am I going to be found guilty of thought crime in the months and years to come? Only time will tell. But again, fill the comment field and you're welcome to hit the like button. You can subscribe to my channel. I have added a number. I've gotten up in and around 1,200, which for a station such as my own, without any production values to speak of, no professional mic or lighting or graphics, no green screen, nothing like that. I'm just sitting at my dining room table. My little picture that I got, gosh, that probably would have been 2019. No, what am I saying? 2009, back in the 1990s when I moved into an apartment downtown and I needed some stuff to cover the walls. And I went to an art auction to get some art. And I liked that one. I like that one. I like the juxtaposition of an old, probably 1920s, 30s, old dilapidated old building and this brand spanking new CN Tower in behind. I imagine that painting, that's a print. I imagine it was done probably around 1978, give or take. The landscape there looks entirely different now. That's King Street looking south toward the CN Tower. And King Street in that area south is now Roy Thomson Hall and all kinds of office towers. Looks nothing like that. Now, back then it was just old, hydro stations and dilapidated old buildings and such. But I like to digress. It's kind of what I do. An old guy, born 1966, the last century. Let me read to you what I wrote. Uh, the subject line I wrote was, "Are we going to be seeing further restrictions on social media under Carney?" And I think the restrictions are going to be specifically centered around free speech. And here's what I wrote. During the election campaign, Carney went full Justin when talking about platforms like Twitter. Yes, I know that it has a new name. It's called X, but I prefer the old one. And what he called X, a bastion of racism and misogyny. Misogyny is hatred of women. Said it was rife with anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, that it was full of disinformation. Uh, and basically, he used the same terms that Justin Trudeau had used to frame those who were smart enough to refuse the crappy COVID jabs. That's what Justin said about people like me. They said they're often racist, Islamophobic, and all these pejorative terms, science deniers and everything else. And basically, you don't want to be with them. You don't want to be with them. Keep getting, go every 6 months, go get yourself jabbed with the latest update. Uh, and what we saw during the Trudeau government, during his time as prime minister, that they enacted legislation that prevents Canadians from sharing news stories on platforms like Facebook. And that stinks. Because back in October of 2021, the chief medical health officer in Alberta, a woman by the name of Deena Hinshaw, she held a press conference and announced what she described as that province's youngest ever COVID death. And the media, our media, who's there to try and dig and investigate and get to the truth, the media didn't ask any questions. When she said the child had underlying health issues, they didn't do any investigation to find out what those underlying health issues were. Basically, they just said, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir. And they just, whatever she said, they put it out to the masses. And it turned out to be a complete and total lie. The child's family, he had 2 sisters, and they went to the mainstream media. They went to the CBCs, the CTVs, the Globals, and they told them that the child that Deena Hinshaw was speaking about, that he had actually died of stage 4 inoperable brain cancer, that he was receiving end-of-life care in a palliative care ward. And they had subjected a dying child to what I refer to as a nasal colonoscopy. That's this PCR test where they cram an applicator up that practically scratches your brain. They'd subjected this dying child to a nasal colonoscopy in order so that they could blame his unavoidable death on COVID. And I'm convinced, this is my opinion. Why did they do it? Because my opinion is that they wanted to scare parents. They wanted to use fear into getting parents to get their healthy children to get a COVID jab. And it's only because of an alternative media outlet called Western Standard that we found out the truth. The Western Standard ran the story, and that's how people learned the truth, that it wasn't COVID, that this kid had stage 4 inoperable brain cancer, and that his death was fully expected. It was not a shock. And that Western Standard story spread like wildfire on social media platforms like Facebook. It blew up and exposed Deena Hinshaw's what I would refer to as propagandistic lying. Now, it also forced Deena Hinshaw to hold another press conference, and she said it was a mistake. She said we made an error in judgment, and I say garbage. I say bull. But basically now Justin Trudeau, by introducing the bill, and I forget the legislation, C whatever, he took care of that. Liars don't like being exposed. So you can't share stories like that anymore. The lies, when you promote misinformation, it gets full exposure, unchallenged dominance in the marketplace of ideas, and that's dangerous. And I'm expecting with Mark Carney now that we're going to see further restrictions on free speech. He has spoken about resurrecting a piece of legislation called the Online Harms Bill, wherein if a person feels that they've been harmed, they have been offended, they under this proposed legislation would be able to lodge a formal complaint with an unelected body appointed by the government, a panel, and they will determine, unelected, unscrutinized, they will be judge and jury, and they will mete out whatever punishment the law allows. Now, might I offend people with my opinion on climate change? Personally, my own non-expert view, but to inform myself, I listen to experts like Richard Lindzen, who's a past chair of climatic meteorological studies at Harvard and MIT. And I am of the opinion that even if we get to net zero, even if little Canada stops emitting carbon into the atmosphere, I'm here to say that the climate will continue to change, that it will not stabilize. Mark Carney, of course, thinks that Canada can somehow stabilize climate and that climate change will go away. I assert that there are two genders. There's male and female. There's XXXY. Might people find that offensive? Might they find, my climate change opinion, my views vis-a-vis transgender, might that offend people? Horribly so. Oh my gosh. And then they could lodge a complaint with some new body that the Carney Liberal government will put in place. And what kind of penalties might I face? What if there's another medical intervention that is foisted on Canadians that gets rushed through development in just a few months, no separate phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trial, just do it all together all at once, no long-term safety profile whatsoever. What happens? Am I then going to be fined, imprisoned? I think we'll find out soon enough. And that's all I really had to say on the matter. We'll keep this video short, maybe under 15 minutes. Thank you for watching. Again, I do appreciate all those comments that I've been getting in my last few videos. It's appreciated. I like the fact that there are a lot of people, it seems, who are willing to look past the fact that, this is bare bones basic. I call it miserable, pathetic, but, it's just, I hope it speaks to a degree of authenticity. I'm not dressing things up. This is my normal voice. I'm not doing a lot of YouTubers. I find they, try and be a little bombastic. They try and clickbait things and they try and sound, they, you know what I'm talking about. They're hooked on driving engagement. And I'm guilty of that. I enjoy the engagement. I do get the dopamine rush, but I'm trying not to be driven by that solely. I don't want that to be the primary motivating factor behind my channel and the videos that I put out. So thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. You'll probably see at the end of this video, it'll populate. Down here, there'll be a subscribe, and there'll be a couple other boxes. I only just learned how to do that, how to put those at the end of my videos. So I had an individual trying to engage, wanted me to engage with him and hire him to, dress up and make my channel better. And he offered up a few free suggestions, and I take them because I do want to grow the channel. I do enjoy getting my voice out there, but I don't want to sell out, as it were, completely and be driven solely by engagement and how many dimes, nickels, and quarters YouTube will let fall through the cracks into my little hand. So thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. And again, like, share, subscribe. Take care. God bless. Good night.